Hello and namaste. I am Richa Divedi and today let us look at how the Northeast has been performing in the last couple of years. What is the status of the economy of the Northeast? Is it developing? What is really happening there? So I have a very nice graph with me here through which I will try to explain what development is taking place in the Northeast, economic development. So first of all, let us look at this. Northeast is 8% of India's area, okay, and in terms of population, Northeast is 3.7% of India's population. Now, having seen this, let us look at per capita income now. So, what is the status of per capita income in comparison to previous years, especially during the UPA era versus the NDA era? So, let us look at it that way. Now, in 2013-14, the per capita income was somewhere here. But in 2021-22 and in this period, you can clearly see there is an upward, there is a growth, proper growth has been registered when it comes to per capita income. So, per capita income in the last 10 years has increased. Moving on to the size of the economy. Now, what is the status here? This is mentioned in trillion. The black markers here are that of the Northeast and the orange markers here are that of India, and the green values here, this is Northeast's size of the economy as a percentage of India's economy. So, in 2013-14, while India's economy was 112.33 trillion, Northeast's economy was 2.97. That was the size of the economy of the Northeast. Now, as you can see this whole graph here, the whole table. So, if we look at the year 2021-22, over the years, obviously there was an increase in the size of the country's economy, right? In 2021-22, India's economy was 234.71 trillion and the Northeast economy was 6.81 trillion. So you can see there has been a substantial increase in the size of the economy of the Northeast as well. So this is what the size of the economy is. Now, coming to GDP growth, what is the GDP growth indicating? So in 2013-14, the GDP growth in the Northeast, the red line here is indicates the Northeast, the orange one here is India's GDP growth. So in 2013-14, it was 6.4. Okay. Now, over the years, there was a decline. Now, what is this decline indicating? When we talk about policy paralysis, there was a period, this is definitely, it's not that if any economic reform takes place today, tomorrow you are going to see a change. This is an impact of the years of the previous government, whatever economic reforms, whatever policies they had, this decline is an impact of that. Now, this sharp dip here, what is the sharp dip here? This is the pandemic period, okay, where the country's GDP also dipped and that of the Northeast also dipped. But there is a huge success story here. When you look at this period, 2022-23, what is happening is there has been a sharp increase. The GDP growth, it has gone upward, and this is a period of stability that has been achieved. So it is 7.0%. When we talk about India's GDP growth, it is 7.0% and that of the Northeast is 7.5%. So clearly, this is an indicator of the fact that the GDP growth of the Northeast and that of the country has increased. So I have another graph with me here, and through which I will try to explain how is multidimensional poverty in all the 8 states of the Northeast. So here we have data of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim and Tripura. So if you can see here, multidimensional poverty, the blue circle here is that of the state, and multidimensional poverty in India is indicated with the yellow circle here. So as you can see, in 2015-16, the multidimensional poverty in the state of Arunachal Pradesh was 24.23 and that in India was 24.85. So it is pretty much similar values. In 2019-21, in this period over the years, while India's multidimensional poverty went down by almost went down and it came down to 14.96, that of Arunachal Pradesh also decreased. So you can see multidimensional poverty in the state has decreased over the last couple of years, corresponding values with that of India, and clearly millions of people have been lifted out of poverty. Similarly, when we look at that in Assam in 2015-16, it was 32.65. This is a massive value. And if you look at 2019-21, there has been literally this value has almost halved. So multidimensional poverty, a lot more people in Assam have come out of multidimensional poverty. Similarly, in Manipur, in Manipur, when the multidimensional poverty was 16.96, in 2019-21, it is 8.1. It has halved. Okay, so this is what it is indicating. Again, thousands of people, millions of people have been brought out of multidimensional poverty. If we look at other states as well, if we look at Nagaland, 25.16 in 2015-16, and in 2019-21, 15.43. So overall, all the states, the entire graph, if you look at the graphs of all the states, what is it telling us? It is telling us that millions of people, not only across the entire country, but in the northeastern states as well, have come out of multidimensional poverty. This is due to the successful last mile delivery of schemes of various welfare initiatives of the center. And as you know, in the northeast as well, there were various governments, but over the years when there were elections, the state governments changed. All of them came under the Northeast Democratic Alliance, which became a part of the NDA. So double engine governments in the center as well as the state. This is what has ensured the last mile delivery of welfare initiatives, which has actually helped the people come out of poverty. So these two things, the two indicators, the two graphs that I had, clearly telling us a story that during the NDA regime, during the Modi government, Northeast's economic growth has been massive, and it has been nothing like it was before. And during the UPA's period, of course, we have seen the way there was a lot of instability in the northeast, a lot of insurgent groups were active, and there was no tangible effort towards achieving peace. But over the years, in the last couple of years, you would see there have been various peace accords that have been struck. Then the whole focus of the government has been towards not just looking east, but also acting east. So they have been acting vigorously. They have been acting, they have taken their Act East policy very seriously, and they've been acting towards the development of the northeastern region. And as Prime Minister Modi said in his Lok Sabha address as well, that northeast is his jigar ka tukda, which means it is something, the entire region is very close to his heart. Not just the people of the region, but also the potential it has. And that is what we are seeing through implementation of policy. Obviously, the states are doing a lot better than they were, and they are contributing to the growth of the national economy. Their contribution has increased, and this is what all this data tells us. So that was all in this episode.